top of the world, about to jump above it. Take it straight to the moon, 'cause we know how to rock it. Ain't no thing you can do, ain't no way to stop it. Now you're feeling it too, let's get it started. Throw your hands in the air while the beat is dropping. Acting like you don't care when everybody's watching. Just keep whipping your hair like that, you got it. Yeah, you're feeling it too, let's get it started. I'm ready, ready. Let's get it, get it. I'm ready, ready. Are you ready, ready? Let's get it started. Charts off the meter, turn it up, blow the speakers, make them all to believers, break through the surface, tell them open the curtains, give them all what they wanted, yeah, now let's get started. I'm ready, let's get it, get it. Yeah, I'm ready, ready, are you ready, ready? I'm ready, let's get it started. Yeah, yeah, I'm ready, ready. Let's get it, get it. I'm ready, ready. Are you ready, ready? Let's get it started. Let's get it started. Let's get it, get it. Let's get it started. Let's get it started. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Give me something new. Time to break loose. Take it to another level. Now we on the move. Shout if you coming with me. Going over the limit. On your mark, keep it steady. So tell me, are you ready? I'm ready. Let's get it, get it. I'm ready, ready. Are you ready, ready? Let's get it started.
Are you ready? I know we are. It's the Northwest Truck Series Championship race. 30 drivers have raced all season long, and we've gotten down to just 4. Well, who's racing for them? We'll introduce our 4 drivers racing tonight for the Northwest Truck Series Truck Championship.
My name's Dan West Jr., number 55, part of LSRTV Racing.
My name is Devin West. I drive the number 5 Ford Web Solutions truck, and I'm part of the West Racing team.
Dennis Moore, number 44 for Beaver State Racing.
Sean Breitzman, number 46 Toyota Camry, part of Team LSRTV.
And it is championship night. Samuel Dyer with the introduction. I'm Wesley Outland, and of course at night's end, 4 drivers will become one as the longest season of the Northwest Season 8 Truck Series will crown their champion. You've got Dan West Jr. He's got a shot to try to win it again. And obviously, Samuel, what can we see that could top with the trucks tonight what we saw on Monday night with the Cup cars here at the virtual Las Vegas Motor Speedway? Been a long season. We're ready to crown the champion this evening.
Yeah, if anything could best Monday night, it might be all 4 of our championship drivers just taking each other out right at the beginning. That's practically what we saw last night. We saw a lot of drivers of Lake Peterson and Sean Breitzman getting put in difficult spots early Monday night and then coming back, taking each other out to finish each other with 30 laps to go. But here tonight, expecting similar hard racing, but still a long race. Second, I believe actually tied for the 3rd longest race of the season, Wesley. So it's going to be a marathon here tonight. But the drivers, they're excited, they're amped up, and I'm excited just to see what we're going to see because we've already seen kind of 2 different styles of racing with the ARCA Championship and with the Cup. The trucks always seem to be a little bit of mixture of both on Wednesday nights.
Dan West Jr., of course, is the man that won the Truck Series championship last year. He is the guy that has the shot to try to repeat. But then you've also got the drivers like his son, Devin West. You've also got, of course, another plethora of talented guys that are ready to go at it here. Anything can happen amongst this race. The West family. You also look at Sean Breitzman. He's got a chance to go to the championship. And in addition to that, we look at this opportunity for 3 trucks that are in Team LSRTV, and then you have the lone wolf by himself. What is that going to be like, Samuel, for 3 against 1? But then again, even though they're teammates, they're going to race, and they're going to race hard because they want to win a championship too.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be 3 against 1, in the eyes of looking at the team aspect. But when you come to championship racing, it's all, you're just racing for yourself at that point. It's all or nothing. And even for Dennis Moore, he's shown throughout this season, even he's been the fastest of the Beaver State Racing drivers. He's shown that he could be quick, be up front. And honestly, I would not be surprised to see that 44 team be able to conquer LSRTV Racing. But at the same time, we look back to some of the other mile and a half courses we've gone to, Wesley, and Team LSRTV Racing, they have been the top dogs at most of those mile and a half courses.
Samuel, could we see an upset tonight? Could we see somebody like Mr. Dennis Moore play his cards right, be in the right place at the right time, and be able to hoist that championship, kind of like what we saw what happened to Chris White in the Cup Series on Monday? We're still talking about that. That was so unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, if you see your favorite drivers that have been the fastest all season take each other out, there's obviously a chance. But, I look at the whole entire group and where they are. I can't, for the Cup Series, you obviously could look at the stats and say, yeah, Chris White was the underdog, an incredible championship win Monday night. But I look at the standings and look at the ways that the stats were throughout the season, and it's really hard to even pick who's the underdog unless you take that team aspect and make that the underdog statement.
Who's your pick to win the championship, Samuel? I'll let you go first.
If I've got to make a pick, I think I'm going to go with that of Devin West. Devin seems to be showing up here of late. And I got to say, this 5 been looking very good and consistent. And that's been one of the strong points and things that we noted on a lot Monday night. And I think that's going to be what carrying the 5 to victory, to possibly even victory lane and hoisting the championship.
I like Sean Breitzman. I think he's got a really good chance. Obviously, I believe that Devin West and father-son Dan West Jr., Devin West are going to try to work with each other, obviously, for a championship. But I'm going to tell you, I'm not riding with any of those guys. Samuel, I'm going with the Beaver State guy. I'm going with Dennis Moore. I've rode out with him before at other races with ARCA and other events, and I'm going to do it here tonight. I'm cashing my chips in. I'm going all in at Vegas. I'm taking virtual driver Dennis Moore to win the championship in the number 44. So we'll see what happens. He's got Devin West, and I, of course, have Mr. Dennis Moore. We'll be back. More coverage in a moment. Championship. It's been a long season. Time to decide who the champion will be. And remember, amongst those 4 drivers, you got another 21 drivers that are looking for a checkered flag. We'll be back with more coverage in a moment.
An automobile purchase shouldn't be hard. The hardest part for the consumer in the whole process should be selecting the vehicle. We have the online credit application. We can bring the car to you to see it, to test drive it, to deliver it. We have all the tools in place, and we've had them in place for a long time. I just think now we've perfected it. It's become part of our culture. We've, kind of taken it to the next level. It is easy, and it should be easy, and it should be fun, and it shouldn't take a whole lot of time.
We're back here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Here's the thoughts of more of the drivers that are racing for the Championship 4 as they prepare. We get their thoughts here tonight.
Yeah, I feel pretty fortunate. I feel even better that I've got 2 teammates in there with Devin and Sean. But that Beaver State Racing with Dennis Moore in there is he's pretty solid group. So it feels good to be in there, but it's going to be some work. We've got work to do behind the scenes. So we'll see how that turns out.
I feel pretty good. It's my second season in the league. It's my second season also being Championship 4. And last year at Phoenix, I ran pretty good. Had a shot to win. Fortunately, just didn't quite have the truck to make the moves I needed to, and came home 3rd. So it feels pretty good to be back and have a chance to redeem myself, kind of get another chance to go for it again.
I'm excited with it being my first full season in the Northwest Racing Series. It's been a lot of fun. It's turned out better than I expected.
Excited to be in the Truck Series Championship. I'd like to grab a open setup Truck Championship. It's a season part of the Northwest Racing Series history. So to be able to get yourself another crown there, I think that would be my second championship technically in that. I'm excited. Can't wait.
They sound very confident. They sound very determined, ready to go. Focused, I believe, is the word, Samuel, as we await 3 minutes remaining in qualifying, drivers meeting, and these trucks gridding for this race here tonight for championship. 250 miles, 167 laps, one of the longest races of the year, and it's for the championship tonight.
Yeah, that was when I was asking the drivers Thursday night, getting their thoughts of making the Final Four, and it's all of them at least are feeling excited to be a part of the Final Four. For some, that was their goal. For others, championship or nothing. And with tonight being 167 laps, Wesley, it's going to be a long race, and we kind of got a sense of that on Monday night as well. When with how the 1.5 mile courses have been going throughout the year, that was the perfect time to be seeing, Sean Breitzman and Lake Peterson being aggressive. But I'm wondering if Sean's learned from that Monday night race on how to be not as aggressive until those final 20 laps. Try to save the truck here tonight so we can finish out and get the gold like he wanted to Monday night, but failed to do so.
What do you think we'll see here tonight with all these drivers? They're battling, they're racing, obviously, amongst for championship. And in addition to that, for sure, Samuel, you got to be smart. You got to play smart. You can't be aggressive, because if you make one wrong slip, it can cost you a championship tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the safety net of a fast repair. All the drivers are going to have one fast repair. So if you get any type of damage coming to pit road, it will automatically reset your vehicle and you go out with a fresh, brand new truck. And then you're also going to be having 4 sets of tires. So in pit road to work with throughout the night. So the drivers are going to have some options on how they can be aggressive, on track as well as under pit road. The patience, though, it's going to be very tough to get too aggressive. There's going to be a lot of patience for these drivers until about lap 100 to lap 115. That's when we're going to be seeing really who's up front in the top 5 and has an actual chance to win tonight's championship. And you might have to win the race to win the championship as well.
Should be a fun one, of course. Let's take a look at the bottom left of the monitor, the LSRTV race information for tonight. 30-minute practice is all done. Qualifying is concluded. We're about 1 minute away from the gridding here for the Team 126 Racing starting lineup. And, of course, 167 laps, 250.1 miles. Okay, that is the official distance around the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. So that's going down. On the bottom right is the LSRTV weather conditions. Nice, same air temperature, ambient, track temperature, no winds, partly cloudy. What a perfect night to go out with a bang, Samuel.
Yeah, and with these trucks being, that of open setup, meaning the drivers can make adjustments under pit road, with it being same from the start to the end of the night, we're going to be seeing a lot of drivers not have to worry about that weather aspect to change the track too much. So we're going to be seeing a lot of small changes for these drivers on how to work on their trucks for either the short run or even for the long run.
All right, so the stage is set. Obviously, Samuel has laid down his pick. Who was your pick in the chat box? Who you're riding with? Who's going to be the champion here tonight? The field is beginning to grid on the front straightaway. We await, once again, aerial coverage presented by LSRTV. And, man, before you know it, it'll be back in February. We'll be right to go back and do it again. Looking forward to another season with the Northwest Cup and Truck and ARCA Series and returning in 2022. But also there's some other great coverage. NASRA's returning. You've also got the Sim 500 Blizzard Trans-Service Blizzard Cup Series on Monday night. Of course, they are taking off for the Thanksgiving break of next Monday, but they'll be back so much more. So there you go. It is almost that time. 25 charter members of the Virtual Order of Go Fast, Fraternal Order of Go Fast, set to giddy up and gallop around the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. 1.5 miles, nicely lit. Should be a good race, and we're looking forward to it here tonight as the final stages are being set. The final trucks are being gridded, and once we get the all clear, we will give you that Team 126 racing starting lineup, 250 miles, 167 laps. Samuel, your brother Matt Dyer, he's ran a lot. I know you've ran some. What is some of the thoughts these drivers are thinking before they get going?
Be patient and hope that you're not caught up in a big wreck. We're going to be seeing these drivers on top of one another. A lot of drafting, pack racing early on, so don't get yourself into too much issues, especially in these first 5 laps.
My pick to win, Dennis Moore. He's on the pole for the championship on row 1. Stephen O'Hare outside row 1. Row 2 on the grid, we'll find Dean Moore in the 33. Dan West Jr., winner last year of the championship. He'll start 4th. Row number 3, we'll find Jeff Stabnow. Good solid top 3 podium run for him in the Cup Series on Monday. See if he can do it in the trucks. Kevin Smith, Hermiston, Washington, and the Tom Ditchell Auto Group 00. Row 4, Troy Daggett, Ryan Bloom, ARCA champion in 8th. And to round out your top 10, it's going to be Devin West, Samuel's pick, Sean Breitzman, defending Cup champion of last year until Chris White got it on Monday. Your top 10 at Vegas.
Then we go back to row number 6, where we find the 63 of Dan Lather, as well as Eric Chaney in the 76. Row number 7, we find that of Chris White, our Cup champion from Monday night, as well as Frank Harris in the 11. Row 8 finds that of Aaron Cooper, as well as Robert Gamble. Going to be on the outside of row number 8. Bringing us to row 9, it's Carl Burke and also Will Duvall II in that 85 machine. Row 10 is going to be that of Russ Lundberg, as well as that of Gary Nichols. And our last couple of drivers going to be that of Tyler King and John Ottenbacher. And finishing out the rest of the row, it's Scott Hutchinson in the 91, all the way back in row 12.
So there's the lineup. Final thoughts as they get ready to nestle in here and prepare to go to battle. This is it. You see the camera angles. We got some awesome camera shots for you. Remember on the Monday night race, we had a wreck on the opening lap when we were doing the cameras. Just our final send-off for you. We're ready for it again. The lights are off on the pace car. Field will make their way to the Pennzoil restart zone. That's the starter's box. And we await the green flag. 4 drivers for the championship. It's go time here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a virtual race, and we are kicking the asphalt one more time. The Northwest Trucks of 2021. Samuel, we had a truck drive through the grass. Did you catch that? We go. We're underway. Opening laps. And Samuel, now for the second lap in a row, we've got drivers driving through the infield grass.
Yeah, big issues for one of our championship runners. Dan West Jr. went through the grass coming out of turn number 4 on lap number 1. Then Carl Burke was the other driver that went through the grass, and also Will Duvall had to go through pit road for a quick second, but is getting reset for himself. So already quick early issues for drivers getting loose out of turn number 4 as the battle for the lead is on.
Off to turn 1, Dennis Moore leading the way. He's the man for the championship right now. He's in P1. We talk about so much this year as they work down the Nellis straightaway. Got Smith and O'Hare behind him. He's holding them off. How much these Beaver State drivers have improved. And Samuel, this is just another reason why. High hopes for the 44. Man, he could be a champion tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he came in with so much confidence for that of Dennis Moore. 3 wins this season with 2 poles. Going to be getting himself, being up front. Certainly a lot of speed for the 44, but I talked about that consistency of his 23 starts this season. He's had 10 top 5s and 18 top 10s. So he's been up front a lot, and knows how to get the job done at the end of the day.
Back across the start-finish line, 1 car length back. There goes O'Hare on the inside, Smith on the outside. Here comes Stabnow. Samuel Stabnow had a really good run in this race for the Cup cars on Monday night. A solid podium finish. Got to be some positivity to look in improving for next year for 2022 for the 24 out of Billings, Montana.
Oh, absolutely. And, for that of Jeff Stabnow as well as Dan Lather, that's both running in 5th and 6th with this lead pack. Both drivers are both just looking for consistent runs here tonight, and it's honestly been looking great for both of them. Currently, Dan Lather, who's in our 63 machine, biggest mover of the night, currently up 5 positions from where he qualified.
We're underway down the back straightaway with Dennis Moore out in front. O'Hare, Smith running that pack. Dean in the black 33 machine to the inside. The 24th Stabnow. Dan Lather climbing into that mix, and then you got Devin West in the 5. That's a 7 truck breakaway. They cross the start-finish line, 7 laps in. They go back to turn 1 with Moore leading, but O'Hare looking to the inside for the lead as they work off 2.
Yeah, we were seeing in these first couple of laps, it's all about finding the speed and where you want to place yourself, as Will Duvall's going to be in front of our leaders. We'll see where the 85 truck wants to place himself. But Will Duvall, who's had issues, has come into pit road already to get service done. Just trying to stay out of the way of our championship drivers, but got to say for up front, for Dennis Moore, we talked about, we looked at the championship picture of only those 4 drivers. He didn't have a teammate that was battling with him for a championship. Meaning for Dennis Moore, his teammates, their whole entire goal, hold back those 3 other championship drivers. So if anything, the Beaver State Racing team might be in an advantage trying to help the 44 out.
Working off turn number 4. Here they come back to the line. Still a lot of racing left to go. Remember, this race is 250 miles, which is basically 167 laps. This is the equivalent that normally the Xfinity or the Truck Series run on a regular basis here. As here comes Moore leading down the back straightaway, down the Nella straightaway to turn number 3. Also O'Hare is there. Smith, Stabnow, single file. Working up the racetrack goes Dean. They'll all stay single file as they come across the start-finish line. Boy, I'll tell you what, Samuel, Kevin Smith thought about peeking down to the inside of the apron, but he thought better of it. And they'll go back down single file as you see the whole field of the top 15 stay to the bottom of the racetrack back to 1.
Yeah, all trying to stay in line. You have to get a massive run out of the corner if you want a chance to try to make a pass. And here comes Kevin Smith trying to get a run. But every single time the 00 has a good launch out of turn 2, it's been Stephen O'Hare doing a late block, slowing down the 00. They're not racing for a championship, but you can already kind of tell the drivers up front, they want to get moving forward. And that aggression's already started to build up, even here on lap 12.
So far, everybody being nice, staying out of harm's way. We've watched this. We're on board now. On board with Jeff Stabnow from Billings, Montana, driver of that number 24 4K Ford. Samuel, when you had a bad season, and I wouldn't say it was per se just not a win season for Jeff Stabnow, some highs and lows. It's been a roller coaster ride for sure, more bad than good. But you see him have a 3rd place finish in the Cup race on Monday night. What do you think he can use to help him out for the truck race here tonight and try to have another solid top 3 podium or possibly even win to close out the year?
I mean, looking into this race, it's most likely going to be a podium, mentality for this 24 team. And it might have to come from a little bit of strategy calls being made. But I can see Jeff Stabnow racing aggressive to try to, split up at least the Beaver State Racing crew. But watch out for the 5. Devin West, he's already been able to move up to 6th position. He's been slowly making that charge right behind the 33 of Dean Moore that we see on our screen. And all that Jeff Stabnow needs to do is just keep running his line, be up there, continue to pester and mess with those front runners so that they're using their rubber a little bit more. So when the 5 finally catches up, or any of the other teammates of Sean Breitzman or Dan West Jr., when they catch up to be trying to battle for potential shot for the lead, that they've got the better tires on the longer run. That's going to be probably the biggest factor here tonight, Wesley, is who's got the long run setup, because these drivers took all week to try to make sure they had the best setup here tonight so that they can win tonight's race. But you might be able to make a couple adjustments in pit road to try to make these trucks just a little bit better throughout the night.
Working now, lap 15 completed when they come across the start and finish line. Dennis Moore leading the way. O'Hare right there, nip tuck behind him. Tailgate to tailgate. They work their way back into the turn number 2 corner. Smith is right there. He's got a tailgate in front of the machine of O'Hare. Stab now also has got some company. A little separation there between Stab now and Dean. Dean has also Devin West behind him, and the 83 of the Northwest Cup Series champion of Season 2. What a wild race it was between Sean Breitzman and that man right there in the Built Ford Tough LSRTV number 83 of Chris White. Samuel literally fighting Sean Breitzman for the championship. They were side by side, and we got a caution as Lake Peterson and Sean Breitzman get together. Chris White took advantage of it and wins the championship. As we got a yellow flag, and it might be again for BJ Duval in the live truck, who's already several laps down. Our first caution and our replay presented by Pulse Poppers Fishing Lures all season long, Sammy D.
Yeah, and you see here right out of 4, Will Duval gets loose, holds on, but once he gets onto the apron, just grazes the grass, gets that truck turned sideways and into the pit wall and launches him right back onto the racing surface, bringing out our first yellow of the night here.
And launched him onto the racetrack like a slingshot, if you will, like a ricochet. Definitely a boomerang is the word I was looking for, man. He bounced him off the wall, the inside pit retaining wall, and sent him right back into the racetrack of the Pennzoil restart zone in turn number 1, actually, in that area. So, yeah, Samuel, we're 17 laps in, working on lap 18 now. Does anybody come down to the pit lane, or is it still too early, buddy? What do you think?
I mean, you can come in. It's not too early. Again, you've got 4 sets to work with.
This.
So we could be seeing some, and just like that, split up from the teammates. O'Hare coming into pit road.
Look at that. Dennis Moore looked like he was going to come down to the pit lane. Said, psych.
And Wesley, 3 of our championship 4 came into pit road. I mean, did not come into pit road, excuse me. That of Dan West Jr. did come in. The other 3 competitors stayed out.
So my question is, how good is that? Damned if you do and damned if you don't, basically, right?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for the drivers that are going to be out there on track, we look back to, Sean Breitzman and the fact of the way he almost won all that on Monday night. He was one of those drivers that pitted around, this 18-lap marker. This was around the time that we had our second caution of the night for the Cup drivers. And this is around the time, if we went on a long green flag run from here on out, Dan West Jr. could be in a very good spot with having 4 tires, but he's going to have a lot of other drivers around him in a similar mindset of trying to stay out as long as they can, so they've got the freshest tires if this race stays green all the way to the end.
And mind you, there is still a lot of racing here left to go. I mean, definitely a lot of racing remaining as we're just getting things started. 19 laps in. Of course, as always, follow us at LSRTV on LiveSimRacingTV.com. The Community Radio Network is also live with the simulcast coverage as we've done all season long. Go to wearecrn.com. Got college basketball for the women tomorrow night. Central Carolina College taking on the Johnson Jaguars will be live at 6:30 Eastern time with coverage of pregame, Bruce Barrett and myself. And then we've also got IHRA drag racing coverage over the weekend. In addition, we look forward to whichever comes around for iRacing. I'm sure that this is the end of the line for at least this year for iRacing broadcast coverage. Probably come back again with the Northwest Series again for Cup and Truck like we did this year. Samuel, I find it so fun. I actually was talking to some people about it, talking with students about it today, as a matter of fact. I was like, a guy, I was in a career class and talking about our job and what we do. And one of the things that came up was, man, what do you think of video games? What do you think of the future of video games and people's careers and having a livelihood? And I told them, I said, hey, I announced for iRacing. I announced for LSRTV. And I pulled out my phone and I played the link, and they were like, oh my goodness, wow, it sounds like it's the real deal. The way that you and Samuel call the races, it's like an MRN, PRN type call. And that's what we wanted to do, Samuel, when we got the idea of wanting to do this with Charles and Jeff, and hopefully we'll continue to do it for year number 3 next year.
Yeah, I'm hoping for it for sure. It's been incredible to see also, I mean, just the growth of, the graphical side of things for us being on webcams. I mean, that was something that you only saw, iRacing itself doing, and now being able to do it ourselves over here. And Wesley, crazy enough, LSRTV being the only broadcast team in 4K Ultra HD. It's nice being one of the top broadcast teams out there.
The 4K quality, and of course, in addition to that, all the cool things that have been added along with it. And of course, live sim racing, TV.com, Community Radio Network at WeAreCRN.com. We've definitely enjoyed the partnership. Thanks to Tom Denschel Automotive Group and Kevin Smith for what he's done. Hopefully they come back next year as well and return. We appreciate all they've done all year. And of course, we saw Ryan Bloom win the championship on Friday night, this past Friday night here at Vegas. We saw Monday night, a wild one at Vegas in the Northwest Cup Series Season 2. Chris White winning the championship after, obviously, Lake Peterson, Sean Breitzman taking each other out, fighting for the win, fighting for the championship. 30 laps to go. Samuel, I've seen some posts. I've seen some positives and negatives. I know me and you talked about it as well. You even felt like maybe they went a little too early, but maybe they should have waited with 10 laps to go. It was just too soon to race that way. But in the end, it gave the championship to Chris White. And the question is now, who will be the champion for the trucks as the pace car is getting ready to drop in to the Pennzoil restart zone? Here they come, ready to look for the green flag. Dennis Moore, he'll send it. We're back underway here at Viva Las Vegas in turn 1.
Yeah, and as we see Dennis Moore as well as Dean Moore and Kevin Smith side by side going into turn number 1. Update for drivers further back. That is Sean Breitzman. Came in a lap later than all the other drivers that came in initially. So the 46 going to be all the way back in 19th position with fresh tires. Going to be trying to carve his way through the field because he was up in 6th before he came into pit road.
Breitzman inside of King along with the 51, Troy Daggett. That goes on inside the top 20. This is 17th, 18th, 19th. Odenbacher also there, Hutchinson there. And that is one of the drivers racing for a championship. The Brights Boutique entry, Toyota number 46. Meanwhile, look at Jeff Stabnow getting around Carl Burke in 53. This will move him now to 6th as they work out of turn number 4.
Yeah, we're seeing, that giant jam-pack wall that we're starting to see. A lot of that's because we're starting to see Carl Burke and Russ Lumberg dropping back. They're on older tires. Again, 18-lap older tires. Wesley, we got a little bit of a taste of how fast and how different that is Monday night when Sean Breitzman was passing everyone like they were standing still, expecting similar things as Stefan O'Hare, Jeff Stabnow. They are the front runners with fresh tires, but they can't really make any moves right now because Devin West wants to get moving.
Devin West, one of those drivers that are in the hunt for a championship. They're going to try to stick it 3 wide as here comes now Stefan O'Hare down to the bottom. He's got Kevin Smith there, Dean there on the bottom of the racetrack. Up the outside, Dennis Moore, Devin West, 1 and 2 for the championship. And here comes the 5. My pick out in front. Samuel, your pick right behind, 1 and 2.
And right now, for both of them, they just got to hope they continue to hold on, stay up front, because you can kind of tell and sense Jeff Stabnow's being a lot more patient with those fresher tires, just rolling on the outside, letting him gradually make these passes. While you look at the 41 of Stefan O'Hare, O'Hare wants to make some moves, but has been feeling kind of blocked by the 33, stalling out currently, which is now giving an opportunity for our ARCA champion of Ryan Bloom in the 25. Monster Energy Drink Truck Machine making moves, but Wesley, there's Jeff Stabnow bobbing and weaving with 4 fresh tires.
Yeah, 4 fresh tires are better than 2, and he's making it work. As right now, Stabnow, look at him work from what it was 6th or 7th on the restart. He's up now to the lead trying to battle with Dennis Moore. Remember, Dennis Moore and Devin West did not pit, Samuel. So you see the benefactor of coming down to the pit lane early and taking on these new sets of tires. But, yeah, 24 outside looking for the lead.
And that of Moore getting a good run for himself through and going onto the apron just a little bit. Now that is fair limits. You can be down there on the apron and try to advance your position. There's no off limits. As the 44 now under fire, here comes that of Devin West on the outside, making a great surge. But again, of the drivers in our top 5, Kevin Smith, Devin West, and Dennis Moore, all 3 of those drivers on older tires. They're about to get swarmed. Ryan Bloom, Dan Lather, as well as Stephen O'Hare, slowly making their way forward.
And mind you, there is still a lot of racing here left to go. We're live in the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It is championship night, the final race of the season. And you know, Samuel, we're in season 1 for the ARCA Northwest. We're in season 2 that just wrapped up on Monday night for the Northwest Cup Series. Not really sure what's going to come out of that. Maybe a next-gen car ride, maybe a possibility of going back to the Xfinity program. We're not really certain. Obviously, we've enjoyed watching the Gen 6 races this year. And here's the thing. The Northwest Truck Series is about to wrap up season number 8. That is where it all got started, Samuel, for these guys with the trucks.
Yeah, and the trucks have been kind of a favorite of the drivers, favorite of the fans, always get great racing, and we're seeing it even right now, Wesley, on screen. You can see kind of the intensity building up. The 63, Dan Lather, wants to get moving, but at the same time recognizing he does not want to take out one of our championship drivers.
Yeah, doesn't want to make that mistake and take someone out incidental for sure. As they work their way back into the corner, there goes Dan Lather on the inside of Devin West. Here comes Moore to the inside. There goes O'Hare. Ryan Bloom, ARCA champion right there in the mix below the apron. Working across the line, 30 laps in. Now working lap 31 completed. Stab now. Man, I'll tell you, Samuel, I'm pulling for Jeff Stab now. I'd love to see, obviously, Dennis Moore win the championship, but ride or die, Jeff Stab now. I know our producer's done that all year long, and, man, I know he would be tickled to death if he could win this race here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where you've touched on it a lot, Wesley, of, you know, the terrible luck that we've seen from this 24 team. And most of it's been not getting wins. There's been multiple times throughout this season where the 24 truck has shown a lot of speed, but hasn't gotten the win. For that of Jeff Stabnow, he comes into tonight's race with actually, you know, you look at the stats, a pretty good season for himself. He's had 1 pole position this season, 12 top 5s, and 17 top 10s. And you look at those stats and you're like, wow, he had a great, you know, overall consistent season. But like you and I know, Wesley, wins is also what this 24 team wants. Hasn't gotten it so far this year, and really wants it here tonight.
.34 of 167 laps. Here they come. Down the back straightaway, down the Nellis straightaway. Stab now leading. O'Hare, Lowther. Man, Samuel, hey, give props to Dan Lowther, man. He's got a good run going for him in truck number 63 right now. Your take on that, buddy?
Yeah, Dan Lowther's been showing up these last, I would say, last 4 races. Ever since we had our break coming into the round of 8, about 4 weeks back, it's been the 63 showing a lot of fast, consistent runs early on, but it's been on the longer run where we start to see that of the 63 falling back. But you look at our ticker, championship drivers, Wesley, they are on top of one another currently, as almost all 4 right now in your picture. There's your championship 4 together in a pack. As you see that of 55 and the 46, fresh tires moving forward. Dennis Moore in the 44 and the 5 of Devin West falling backwards.
And watching them work their way off of turn number 4, back down the back straightaway, correction, down the back stretch. There you see Ryan Bloom. Ryan Bloom, top 5 right now. Behind him, there's father, there's son. Daddy's son West, 55 and 5. Remember, he had some problems earlier. And Samuel, how fitting could it be? Dan West Jr., Devin West, Sean Breitzman, Dennis Moore. They're right there for the championship. 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and a battle for the lead as O'Hare reeling in Stabnow back off of turn number 2.
Yeah, O'Hare's just been lingering, slowly catching up, and right now we're seeing, the patience of that of Stephen O'Hare. O'Hare at times looked very jittery when he first got the fresh set of tires, was trying to go down low on the straightaways, trying to figure out where to place the 41, but just let the truck slowly make the passes. Well, Jeff Stabnow let the truck roll on the outside, made all the passes, but when you're on the outside lane, you have to get back in the throttle so much sooner than the drivers that are rolling on the bottom side. So in the first 5 laps of these fresh tires, it was Jeff Stabnow who burned off the tires quicker. That's why we're seeing that of Stephen O'Hare in the 41, slowly gaining ever bit slowly here and within 2/10 of the 24 who's in the lead.
Slowly gaining, slowly watching all these guys working their way back around the racetrack. Final race of the season. Samuel, it's amazing, my friend, how fast this year's flew by. I mean, wow.
Yeah, it's been just. I still can think back to when we had the duels going and cheering for all the new drivers that were coming in. So now we're all the way to the end of the season and trying to figure out and who to crown as the champion for the Northwest Truck Series. It's crazy, Wesley, how quick it's been.
What do you think we'll see next year?
I'm expecting to see a couple of new faces coming in. I don't know exactly who those new faces are going to be, but it's been fun seeing some of the newer guys pop in and show up for certain nights. But I think we're expecting pretty similar things of seeing, Dan West Jr. and Sean Breitzman to continue their championship and winning ways of being up front, as they were the only two, that of the 46 of Sean Breitzman, the 55 of Dan West Jr., they were the only 2 drivers, Wesley, that qualified for the Final 4 in both the Cup and the trucks this season. So I wouldn't be surprised if they come back next season and wanting to get more victories and get another championship.
We continue on with now Stabnow leading. Ryan Bloom, by the way, in that number 25 machine, ARCA champion. Hey, Samuel, what do you think of finish line? Obviously, we had to do audio only this morning, but because our producer live 15 minutes to airtime got the dreaded blue screen of death. I'm so glad he was able to get everything fixed to get back to broadcast tonight. But we had to do audio only. But, man, next week, the smooth operator, Bobby Pierce, the winner of the South Carolina 400 at Florence. We'll talk about the Thanksgiving Classic at Southern National with Motor Racing Network's Alex Hayden, as well as Michael Diaz. And in addition to that, the winners of the Northwest ARCA Cup Truck Series Championships will all have their opportunity to get some exposure, talk about iRacing, talk about their season. I think they're looking forward to that. We've already know Ryan Bloom's one, Chris White's the other. Who will it be for the trucks?
Oh, so the Northwest drivers didn't do it this morning? They got rescheduled the next week?
No, we made the decision to have all 3 on at the same time.
Oh, I still need to watch this morning's episode. I know you said Josh Berry was going to be there, so excited to hear from him. I know that's going to be an exciting one to listen to on that interview.
Yeah, you couldn't watch it. The blue screen of death visited our producer's computer, and Josh Berry had an Xfinity commercial shoot, so I couldn't have him on today. Boo. And they were testing the next-gen car at Charlotte also.
Well, you never know what you're going to get each and every week. So as the battle for the lead, O'Hare to the outside, going to be trying to make the pass for the 41. And he is going to clear through 1 and 2. That is probably one of the easiest ways to make a pass, Wesley, is on the entry of the corner, and the other driver just says, hey, take it.
Yes, sir. Excuse me, coming through? I sure will. And he will go to the lead. O'Hare, the man out in front. Stabnow in second. Bloom and Breitzman 4 and 5. Lowther, West and West. Moore, Cheney, Smith, top 10. Back across start finish line into turn number 1. And Samuel O'Hare is closing in on some lap traffic, I believe. Back marker trucks are in front of the leader of the 41 as he works down the Nella straightaway.
Yeah, that lap driver going to be Robert Gamble, who's been off pace for most of this run. Also want to give a report for drivers that are even out of this race, that being Will Duvall as well as Scott Hutchison, both calling it a night here, as we're left with 21 drivers still out on track. But you can see that 54 staying high and trying to stay out of the way of everyone else.
We've had one caution flag to stop this event. Obviously, it's been fairly clean for the most part. Samuel, I think everybody is, for the moment, respecting one another. Patience is now being shown. Maybe some give and take here in the early going, but the question is, how long will that last?
Yeah, and also, how are drivers going to react with coming into pit road? As a surprise see into pit road, but it could be calculated, is the 5 of Devin West into pit road, as we're seeing, the drivers that did not come into pit road to take fuel and tires are going to be forced into coming into pit road here, Wesley, in the next 5 to 10 laps. They're going to have to come in.
They will have to come in, no doubt about it. 48 of 167 laps. Still a lot of racing left to go. Samuel Dyer, Wesley Outland here with you. It's been a long season. And it all culminates down to tonight for the final race of the season for the Northwest Truck Series. Thanks again to Tom Denschel Automotive Group. Thank you to Kevin Smith, everybody there in the Hermiston, Washington location. I also want to say thanks to Greg Rentz, our colleague and friend. I know we didn't get to work with him down the stretch because of some other things going on. And hopefully Greg will be back to join us next year. Everybody, all the drivers, everybody on the team, Samuel, yourself, it's been fun working with everybody. I tell people this every week. This is like a virtual traveling circus. And, I work the real deal as we see Sean Breitzman go after the machine of or a lap truck, if you will, of Robert Gamble. Ryan Bloom behind him. That's the battle now for 3rd and 4th. But, Samuel, it's a traveling circus. It's a virtual traveling circus, but we go to circuit, track to track. You see the same drivers. We communicate with the same drivers. We laugh. We cut up with them. Sometimes we have our moments of good times, some bad times. Cheers and shouts amongst us as production and broadcasters. But at the end of the day, I feel like we're all a big family, and we all enjoy working with each other. And being a part of what we've done here with this Northwest Racing Series program as Dennis Moore is on the pit lane. Your thoughts on that? As I think we're going to start seeing some green flag pit stops.
And Dennis Moore looks like could have been penalized here as he came off of pit road, missing the blend line. So having to come in, get service done in penalty for the 44 team that was running up front and was one of the drivers that really was looking like for a shot to win tonight. Now, kind of in a similar state that we saw Dan West Jr. in on Monday night. Penalized under green flag racing. That means his 44 is going to need a couple of cautions, get back onto the lead lap.
Shades of what happened to Dan West Jr., mind you, on Monday night. And there is Dan West Jr. right there from Shelton, Washington. He is right now 5th on the racetrack. The man that is looking to lock up the championship for the trucks is Sean Breitzman. Right now he's in the number 1 spot. Dan West Jr. is the defending champion. And those are right now 1 and 2. You've got son Devin West all the way back in 16th. If we want to show him, he is 1 lap down. Sadly, tough break there. And Dennis Moore also coming off of a penalty, as Samuel just reiterated a moment ago, 3 laps down in the 21st position. And Samuel, that might have just took the championship hopes away from the Beaver State number 44.
Yeah, there's a high possibility of that, and this is where we're going to be seeing a little bit of a scare for Devin West. West's goal, unlap himself the hard way, meaning that expecting all these drivers still to come into pit road. All the drivers that Devin is around, they're aiming to come into pit road around lap 68, but he's trying to get by drivers that he's not been around all night long, so it's going to take a while to get used to the drivers' tendencies, as well as the ridiculous closing rate for that of the 5, having fresh tires and having over 30 lap fresher tires than the drivers that he's around. So Devin West has to be patient here, but the anxiety, you got a sense, it's building up for the 5 as he's trying to be very silky smooth, making all these passes moving forward. But Wesley, to note, all the drivers that stayed out under that first caution of the night did make their first pit stops under our green flag run. That's why we have so many drivers a lap down.
Silky smooth moves for sure to try to be there down the stretch at the end. As there you see Stab Now, the 24 machine. O'Hare, Stab Now, Breitzman, 1, 2, and 3 on the racetrack. Bloom is in 4th, West is 5th. As they work their way to the back straightaway, closing in on 110 laps to go this time by. So a lot of racing left to go as they work their way off the corner.
Yeah, and for a lot of these drivers, again, their marker is going to be around lap 65 to 68 is going to be the pit window for the majority of the drivers in our top 15, excuse me, Robert Gamble is going to be a part of that group. But what Sean Breitzman just did right here, moving up to 2nd, up 8 positions from where he qualified, but Wesley, it's even more impressive than that. When we had that last restart, Stephen O'Hare, Jeff Stabnow both qualified in 6th and 7th position and just had to pass, 5 drivers to get up front to where they're at currently. Sean Breitzman started all the way back in 19th position and has climbed his way now up to 2nd.
O'Hare, Breitzman, Stabnow. Watching Breitzman, as you said, Samuel climbing his way to 2nd. Obviously, hey, listen, he wanted to win the Cup Championship on Monday. He's in the shot to win here tonight. He could be a winner first time for the trucks. Sean Breitzman, here he comes, across the line.
Yeah, I mean, Sean Breitzman doing a great job moving forward. And, Wesley, how I noted on the beginning of the broadcast, you were wondering who might be the underdog. I kept on saying it seems like it might be too equal to really pick one, because all these drivers are in our final 4 that are in blue on our ticker on the left. All 4 of them have won multiple times this season, Wesley, showing they can get this thing done at any track that they really need to get it done at. And it's incredible to see how the cream of the crop really has risen to the top here for the final 4. And it just makes you more excited on how tonight's race is going to finish, because the final pit stop, that money stop when we're after lap 100, that's going to be the key factor on who's going to be winning the championship here tonight.
There goes the 51, Troy Daggett onto the pit lane. And this will put him a lap down as the Mountain Dew 51 comes to the pits. Green flag pit stops. The 51. There you go. O'Hare, Breitzman, Stabnow, Bloom, West. 62 laps in here at Las Vegas. And there is Daggett on the pit lane, Samuel.
Yeah, Troy Daggett going to be the first initial drivers of those that pitted under our caution. So the 51 going to get tires, fuel, get back out there. The goal for a lot of these drivers, they're going to be making this next money stop as Sean Breitzman's right on O'Hare's bumper. I mean, this is the battle for the lead, but for a lot of the drivers that are coming in now, do not get caught speeding into pit road, and also don't get caught messing up on the merge out. The real reason I would have liked to choose Dan West Jr. as my pick here tonight, but he's been so inconsistent on pit road issues and just been making a lot of mistakes for this 55 team. That might be another factor, as we've already seen Dennis Moore make a mistake that could have cost his chance for a championship. Hey, there's still a lot of racing, just like what we saw Monday night. Whoever's up front might not be up front with 20 laps to go, and you've got to keep your head on a swivel all night long.
O'Hare, Breitzman, 1 and 2. Here, Kitty, where are you? Closing in out of 4. And here comes also one of the Team LSRTV trucks of John Annenbacher in the 89 machine, right around with O'Hare.
Dan West Jr. into pit road for the 55, leading of that of Sean Breitzman, and as well of the other drivers that are coming into pit road. This is massive for the 55. Again, noted on how many times he's had issues throughout, especially since the start of the round of 8, and has translated over into, Monday night for the championship for the Cup Series. We'll see if any issues strike this 55 team here tonight, as pit road has been the biggest weakness for this 55 team with the playoffs.
Dan West Jr. climbing to 10th on the scoring pylon and now falling 1 lap down. Obviously, Samuel, he doesn't want to make that mistake like what happened to him in the Cup race on Monday for sure. Don't want to get busted for speeding or overshooting his pit stalls. They might have a chance for a championship, I believe, Monday night.
Yeah, those pit road issues and those mistakes have been costly. Somehow, even with those mistakes, Dan West Jr. was able to make it to the Final Four in both the Cup and the Truck, but there was multiple times where his playoffs could have been ended in the round of 8. And now, here tonight, you got to hope for perfection. That is what won Chris White the championship in the Cup Series. It's also kind of what won Ryan Bloom the ARCA championship on Friday. Perfection might be the key to make it in, as Sean Breitzman into pit road, and he slides up after the cone. Got to be careful that he doesn't get a penalty for that little bit of a slide there. We'll keep our eye on it, but that mistake could be costly for this 46 team.
Man, oh man. That is heartbreaking. Hopefully there's not a penalty instilled. I don't believe a penalty is called. But Sean Breitzman, what do you think, Samuel? He lost, 7 seconds because of that hiccup on the pit for the Brights Boutique number 46, even though he's still in the lead, but it won't last for long.
Oh, it's a penalty. It's an unsafe pit entry.
Oh, no. Oh, wow.
He's going to be there for another 20 seconds. He's in the same boat as Dan West Jr. Oh, it just continues to pile on. Major mistakes being thrown out. And it just, once again, it's Devin West up front, running clean currently. But major mistakes. It's father and son, the only ones that didn't get penalties under these green flag pit stops.
And remember, Dan West Jr. had a penalty on Monday.
Man, Wesley, this changes everything now. As for that of Sean Breitzman, he's luckily not going to be having as many laps lost as Dennis Moore, because Dennis Moore got the penalty after leaving pit road. So he had to come and do basically 2 pit stops in a row and be held. That's why the 44 is still 2 laps down instead of just 1 lap down like we see that of Sean Breitzman. But still, that is disastrous for all those drivers. Sean Breitzman, biggest thing for him, he needs to make sure he is the last car 1 lap down.
Interesting way you put it, Samuel, and it is not done yet. As again, we're not even at halfway. We are still not at halfway. About another 16 laps, actually, or 14 laps, and then we'll be halfway in this race. But, yeah, still a long way to go. And your pick now, Samuel, Devin West out in front, Breitzman with a mistake, Moore with a mistake. Father and son for the championship on the lead lap, and the man you said you were going with, Devin West, right now on the top of the scoring pylon as we approach halfway here in about 14 laps.
Yeah, and right now we're also right on board and seeing all the different drivers and where they lie. This is where pit stops are going to be mattering a lot, because Devin West pitted back on lap 47, but for that of Stephen O'Hare, he pitted back on lap 65. So on much newer tires is the 41, expecting him to make the pass on Devin West. But all that Devin needs to worry about is where his dad is, because they're both on 2 different strategies. Again, Devin West is on a pitted earlier because he did not pit under a first caution of the night. So that put the 5 machine in a spot where he's hoping that this race continues to stay green, but mistakes are going to have to be made for the drivers that are going to be on fresher tires. For Devin West, this might not be a race-winning strategy of being off sequence compared to everyone else, but it could be a championship-winning decision, as Dan West Jr. back and forth, the 55 is, and That's all the 5 needs to worry about, is where is his dad on track as the 55 moves up to third.
And right there, Jeff Stabnow, right up under Dan West Jr. They're teammates. They're friends. Samuel, how far will that go? Obviously, you know, your teammates, your friends, but you're wanting to win the championship. When will friends become foes? Obviously, that's Jeff Stabnow fighting over those. Exactly. Thank you. Thank you, producer.
Yeah, I mean, for that of Devin West and Dan West, they're both fighting it out now. There is no friendly teamwork, team efforts here. For that of Jeff Stabnow, I think for him, his idea is, how do I help my teammates succeed? So might be seeing a lot of defensive driving from the 24 to just allow the 5 and the 55 truck to just battle it out between themselves. But I'm not expecting any type of lenience to be given between the 5 and the 55. Aggressive racing all throughout tonight. But the real thing is, we haven't really seen them. Only once tonight have we seen all 4 championship 4 being around one another at one moment. There's been issues throughout the night thrown out. I mean, Dan West Jr. was the first driver to have an issue. He went through the grass coming out of turn 4 on lap 1. So the 55 trying to still rebound and up to third, running great as he's less than a second away. I mean, he's about less than 3.5 seconds away from his son currently.
Devin West looking to lock up the championship. And Samuel, how about this as well? But as we watch now, cat and mouse continue for third and fourth between Dan West Jr. and Jeff Stabnow. Man, you have the driver of the 55, and right now he is just, mind you, being patient. Stabnow wants to get back to the front. He wants to find a checkered flag. But look at Devin West, okay? I know we're showing Dan West, but let's give some love to his son, who's up in the front right now in that number 5 truck. And mind you, Samuel, he's not ran almost all season on a full-time basis. He couldn't run the Monday Night Cup Series because of work. Sometimes he was sidelined because of obligations on Wednesday night with the trucks. But he's done any and everything he can down the stretch to be here, to be there when it counts the most, and have an opportunity to go for his first Northwest Truck Series championship.
Yeah, I mean, Devin West comes in right tonight looking very good for himself. In the regular season, had his 2 wins at the dirt courses of Bristol Dirt, back for race number 8, and then as well at Knoxville for that win in race number 16 of the regular season. And then you think back to last round where we got to see Devin win again at that Worldwide Technology Raceway. So the 5's been finding speed for himself, and with no surprise, I mean, he's been quick. The big thing has been, when does he really want to help his other teammates out to give his father a chance for a win? The other race that the 5 has gotten, as he's gotten 4 coming into tonight, was back at Homestead for the race number 5 of the season. So the 5 went in for race number 5. He's been looking quick, and now going to be passed potentially here entering turn 3. But Devin West comes in as our second most winningest driver of the final 4 with his 4 wins. His dad was the driver that had the most of our championship with 5 wins this season, and now going to be trying to make that pass for second as Devin West, older tires, been caught and being swarmed now going into 1.
And closing in on halfway, as there you see Team LSRTV with Dan West Jr. getting around father, son West, Jeff Stabnow right there with him at second, third, and fourth as they work their way off of turn number 4. Well, it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. It's almost close to 11 o'clock. I guess it would be for the mountain time, 10 o'clock for the West Coast time, where my partner Samuel Dyer in California. And we are closing in on halfway as well here in a few more laps, as right now there is still a lot of racing left to go. As look at Devin West and Jeff Stabnow battle through the tri-oval, side by side, through the dog leg as they go back into the corner into 1 and 2, Samuel. This is going on for second and third. Correction,
yeah,
third and fourth.
These drivers, these drivers need to make the decision now of what they're going to do. Either Jeff needs to be very vocal here and say, hey, I'm not going to pass you, or say, hey, let's make this pass as quick as possible so we're not wasting each other's time. As the further and longer they stay side by side, as you see Devin move high, easily making the pass. That was a very clean move by teammates there. And for Devin West, now he just has to stay in line, stay in the draft, and hope that he can keep close as long as he can. But really, it's a losing battle for this 5 machine, as he's just going to continue to fall back each and every lap that ticks away.
Coming up next, we're working in there as we watch O'Hare still continue to battle, as O'Hare brings them off of that corner. It is O'Hare, it is West, it is Stabnow, Devin West. More top 5. We'll be back. Coming up, the final Tom Denchel mid-race report of the season as well. The trucks from Vegas, LSRTV, CRN coverage will return in a moment.
An automobile purchase shouldn't be hard. The hardest part for the consumer in the whole process should be selecting the vehicle. We have the online credit application. We can bring the car to you to see it, to test drive it, to deliver it. We have all the tools in place, and we've had them in place for a long time. I just think now we've perfected it. It's become part of our culture. We've, kind of taken it to the next level. It is easy, and it should be easy, and it should be fun, and it shouldn't take a whole lot of time.
Hey, it's Wesley Outland on the set of the Bull Ring on Speed 51 TV, but I also want to remind everybody that you can keep up with coverage of esports with the Northwest Cup and Truck Series, the American iRacing League, S&B Cup Series, and so much more on your home for sim racing, LSRTV. Of course, remember, you can watch it, and then you can listen to it on CRN, the Community Radio Network, at wearecrn.com. Check us out when you can.
And mind you, I promise, I'm wearing a different red shirt than what I'm wearing right now, okay? That was a different shirt on the stage. So welcome back. Samuel Dyer is down below. One more time for me, Samuel, for the Adams family, or for the, the Brady Bunch. The Brady Bunch. You got to look up at me, the Adams family.
Yep.
For the Brady Bunch. He is Samuel Dyer down there. I am Wesley Outland up top here, and we welcome you to what will be the final Tom Denchel Auto Group Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram mid-race report. Samuel, quiet race, 1 caution flag. I think right now it's the calm before the storm. It might be the West family and Team LSRTV not only fighting for the checkered flag, because I think Jeff Stabnow wants to win a race, but in addition to that, who's going to be on top for the championship?
Yeah, I mean, for championship-wise, it's really down to a 2-horse race at this point. We're going to need some cautions to allow at least Sean Breitzman to get back into the fight for this race. But because of how off-sequence we're seeing this field, we've got some drivers that are, 18 laps off of another group, and the other pack, they're on fresh tires, keeping everyone else a lap down, as we see Devin West getting out of his pit box, not getting caught this time, but it was trying to calculate the math before the 5 came in and a couple of other drivers came in. We're still looking, with Devin West making this pit stop, the 5's looking for one more pit stop for a lot of those other drivers, such as that of Dean Moore and drivers that are off sequence. They're looking to come into pit road here in the next 2 laps, but they've got this pit stop and another one. And for our leaders, currently that of Stephen O'Hare, Dan West Jr., Stabnow, they still have 2 more pit stops before they're done with today's race. And those are 2 pit stops where you can make mistakes like we've seen Sean Breitzman and Dennis Moore make already.
And that's one of the things we've talked about all season long, Sammy D. You cannot make mistakes, especially in the playoffs. In the playoffs, much less the championship race, this is really costly for guys like Sean Breitzman and Dennis Moore for sure.
Yeah, it really is. You can't be making these mistakes. We've already proven and talked about it back Friday night for the ARCA race. Ryan Bloom was one of the only ARCA Championship 4 drivers that didn't have a mistake, won the championship. We look back to Monday night for that of Chris White. 0 mistakes, didn't have a single incident point, while we saw the other 3 drivers have collisions, have mistakes for themselves. And it was 83, that got the win and the championship done for himself. We're going to be seeing, throughout these drivers who can stay the most consistent. But right now, it's been Devin West that's been the one staying out of trouble currently. But Dan West Jr., he had his issue on lap 1. Ever since then, he's been able to recover and now currently in second.
All right, Samuel, obviously, normally me and you, we have a pen, we have a pad, we have a paper. It's very simple. First car, first truck in blue that crosses the scoring loop, you win the championship. Are you still going with Devin West?
Yeah, I'm still going to stick with the 5. I think with the way that the pit stops aligned here, especially with the fuel window being a lot shorter than it was for the Cup and ARCA series, it's allowing these drivers to really have a better opportunity to try different strategies out. And especially with the 4 sets of tires in pit road, everyone's going to be making at least 3 pit stops. So meaning they're going to still have an extra set just in case a late caution comes out here tonight.
For the final time of this season, this has been the Tom Denchel Auto Group mid-race report. Back to on-track action here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway as the racing continues with O'Hare being the man out in front, Dan West Jr. right there in second. Now, Samuel, you got Sean Breitzman and Devin West now 1 lap down as Dennis Moore is now coming off of the pit lane, pitting again, and he is still 3 laps down. Do you see any end in sight for Dennis Moore to possibly get back in this race, do you think?
I mean, right now, for that of Dennis Moore, no. I don't see it being possible. He has been trapped 3 laps down. He needed cautions to come out almost immediately when he got, went a lap down and had his issues. And the big thing, if he was just caught speeding like Sean Breitzman, he would still be an opportunity to come back if a late caution came out, because you can see Breitzman currently running 9th, 1 lap down, the second to last driver a lap down. Once he becomes the first driver a lap down, then he'll be able to get the lucky dog if a yellow comes out. But for that of Dennis Moore, he got his penalty exiting pit road, and that meant he had to drive all the way around, come back into pit road on that next lap, costing even more time. And that's why we see the 44 3 laps down and kind of his shot to win a championship thrown out the window.
More guys are pitting as now Stephen O'Hare is the man out in front. Dan West Jr. sitting there in second. Jeff Stab now. Samuel, what's your take of these 3 drivers? And let me get your synopsis on them. Stephen O'Hare, obviously, he needed to win a race to go to the playoffs. He did that at Talladega to punch his ticket in the final race to go to a championship run. He's only running for a win tonight. He had a chance in the playoffs. Dan West Jr., defending Truck Series champion. Right now, he's looking good, trying to be a back-to-back champion of the trucks. And Stab now, so determined, I believe, to try to finish 2 spots better than where he was here on Monday night in the Cup Series in 3rd, where he's at right now in 3rd. He wants a win. And what it would mean for all 3 of those guys, including Jeff Stab now, Samuel, to win to cap off the season as we approach lap 100.
Yeah, I mean, you look at those, 3 drivers up front, 2nd and 3rd, that being Stephen O'Hare leading currently, Jeff Stab now in 3rd. Both those drivers made the playoffs. Both were fighting for a chance to go into the round of 8, and both fell short of making it for themselves. So they've both kind of been in the same mindset throughout the round of 8 and coming into tonight, which has been just win and get a win for yourself. But they both are also in the similar, sitting point where they're trying to help their teammates win a championship. So, for Stephen O'Hare, just getting the win, being up front, challenging, forcing Dan West Jr. to utilize his tires a little bit more, and that's helping out that of Dennis Moore, just in case if somehow in a miracle he gets back onto the lead lap. And for Jeff Stab now, he was helping, Dan and Devin West, and also that of Sean Breitzman, trying to help either one of those 3 drivers to get a championship here tonight. But because the 44 is kind of out of it, it's all just fair game between the teammates of LSRTV Racing, of Devin and Dan West, battling it out, and then Sean Breitzman trying to get back on the lead lap. A lot of pressures on for that of the 546 and the 55. Don't make any more mistakes moving forward into this race.
Yeah, I think there's all separate storylines amongst all of these drivers. Obviously, you see Stephen O'Hare. He wants to cap off the season with a win out in front. Frank Harris down to the inside of him. Lap truck on the bottom. He's a lap down. Now we have a total of 6 trucks on the lead lap. Aaron Cooper with a nice run in the truck number 71. Normally we mention issues for him and Samuel. He's got a good drive going for him as we are approaching lap 103 completed here of 167. Still a long way to go at Vegas for the championship for the final race of the season.
Yeah, for these drivers, the pressure's on. They're coming up to about 5 to 8 laps until they need to come into pit road and take their second to last pit stop of the night. For this group of drivers that have been off sequence after coming into pit road during our first caution, and that's about, I would say, 3/4 of the field went with that strategy of pitting with our first caution back on lap 18. So they've been off sequence by about anywhere from 18 to 15 laps from the other drivers around them that decided to stay out under that first yellow. So I'm looking at where the drivers are at, looking at around lap 107 to 111 is where we're going to be seeing that of Dan West Jr. coming into pit road. But you can see that of Dean Moore in the 33, hard charging with the fresh tires that 33 has, trying to get himself unlapped at least one time, as looks like the 33 on that last pit stop was caught with a penalty and had to stay in, became multiple laps down, and now back in 19th.
Samuel, as we approach 60 laps to go here, coming up here in a couple of laps, the strategy for pitting, do you think we're going to have to pit again? And I have to say this has been a fairly quiet race. This has really surprised me. I thought they'd be balls to the wall, bumping, banging, slamming, gouging, doing any and everything they could. But for the most part, everybody's been very patient.
Yeah, and the big thing is a lot of the drivers recognized the lesser fuel load, that it was going to be more about fuel strategy than it was about raw speed coming into tonight's race. So drivers are trying to figure out how to save fuel so that they can try to make possibly this pit stop for the drivers that are still out their money stop, their final stop of the night, as we have only just 5 drivers on the lead lap. We're only seeing, with the longer this race stays green, the more drivers are going to be a lap down until we see, those front runners finally coming to pit road. We're still waiting for our front 5 as well as the 46 that's a lap down. That is Sean Breitzman to come into pit road and make their pit stop, as we're inching closer and closer to the limit that they can go. Again, around lap 111 is the limit that they can go on fuel. Some drivers that might have been saving, like Ryan Bloom, Dan Lather, they might be able to stretch it out to possibly 112 to 113. But even if you try to stretch it out that length, there is not a full chance that you're going to be making it on fuel. Most of these drivers are going to be coming up about 10 to 8 laps shy from making it even on this next pit stop. So still drivers looking for another pit stop even after this one that we're seeing as O'Hare as well as Dan West Jr. into pit road.
Oh yeah, here they come down to the pit lane. Pit stops. Samuel, can you say money stop? Is this it right here? Could this take them to the finish?
No, this is not their money stop. This is their second to last stop. They're
No.
still going to have to make one more. If the next one's going to be a splash and go, they're still going to be about 10 to 8 laps short from making it even after this stop.
Well, here we go. So at least the penultimate pit stop of the season. And look at that, almost in unison, O'Hare and West leave the box. Samuel, I got to be a realist here. I know we got to race for a championship, but you know what, buddy? I would love to see Jeff Stabnow win the race. I really would. People does not know how good of a guy this guy is. what he does, not only for Northwest, but for Rocket Media, LSRTV, and, just wanting to win races, wanting to win championships. He gets frustrated like anybody else, man. He said it the other night. Good work pays off. Practice pays off. I need to try to get as much seat time as I can here. And, he had that new Drayson rig that he had to kind of get familiar with, and he was also working on that. And I think he was racing one night and it broke, and he had to fix another one and get a new one. And, so hopefully things going well for Jeff Stabnow. It's all strategy right now, but I got to say he's done a really good race here tonight so far, Samuel.
Yeah, and the big thing for that of Jeff Stabnow, I noted on the fact that we could have been seeing, Dan Lather or others try to stretch it out a little bit further. Lather decided not to. But Jeff Stabnow, as well as Ryan Bloom, both have stayed out, trying to stay out, if possible. If they can stretch this thing to lap 117, they could turn this race into a money stop and be an extreme safe mode. But it just looks like it's too far out there as the 24 is making the signal to come into pit road.
Here comes Stabnow. Jeff Stabnow's on the pit lane from Billings, Montana. And we're still thinking they got to pit one more time before it's all said and done. Samuel Dyer is with you. I'm Wesley Outland. Rocket Media, LSRTV, Community Radio Network coverage. Stabnow, Bloom, West, O'Hare. West, top 5.
And just like that, Wesley, whole entire pit cycle once again has gone through, and now everyone looking for their one final stop. The money stop is the next spot for these drivers. And again, once they get to lap 100, and believe it's going to be 120. Once they get to lap 120 and make any pit stop after that, these drivers should be good to make it to the end.
West, 1 and 2, father, son. How about you for the championship? O'Hare to 3rd. Stabnow in 4th now. Samuel, this could be not only for the win, but also for the championship. Devin West, what a drive.
Yeah, Devin West, he's been Mr. Consistent for most of this round of 8. He's just, whenever he shows up, been a contender up front, has shown a lot of just staying focused and keeping himself out of trouble. That is one of the bigger things. When you've got drivers that are very quick, they can try a lot of different strategies that can put them in spots where they're racing back in the middle of traffic, in the middle of the field, where they're in positions where they can get caught up in wrecks. For this 5 machine, Devin West does a great job of always trying to make sure he is out of that mess. He is up front, making sure even if he is in a group of drivers that he's got an exit plan at all times. That's why he finds himself up front. But if this race continues to stay the way that it is, Devin West has got to be careful and might be banking on that his father, Dan West Jr., who's in 2nd, closing in quickly on this next stop, the 55. If he makes a mistake and the 5 doesn't, this championship could be all Devin West.
West and West, they're 1 and 2. O'Hare, Stabnow, King, top 5. There is Aaron Cooper. Aaron Cooper now the first truck 1 lap down. Now 10 trucks on the lead lap. Breitzman 1 lap down. King on the lead lap. He's in 5th.
Yeah, and, getting a picture of where the 71 is compared to Sean Breitzman, those are the 2 drivers that we're staying key with, because they are the drivers that are the first a lap down. I threw it out, Wesley. There's always that potential of a late race caution that could change everything in the whole entire landscape of where drivers lie. And for the battle for the lead, it's over in just an instant as Dan West Jr. O'Hare make the pass on Devin West. But for Sean Breitzman, he has to make sure that he is that first car lap down. So just in case the yellow comes out and he's not involved in that wreck, he would get that lucky dog spot and back onto the lead lap.
Dan West Jr. One moment it's Devin West, son West. Now it's Daddy West, Dan West Jr. out in front. And O'Hare, what a good run for him. The lap truck behind him, and Nichols 1 lap down, first truck a lap down. If a caution was to come out here on lap 120 completed, 47 to go, he would get the free pass.
And things just get so much harder for that of Breitzman. I mean, he has to get by now. Cooper, who was already, 10 seconds ahead of the 46. Now he needs to figure out how to get by that of Aaron Cooper and then gain another 4 seconds to that of Nichols, who's now officially the first car lap down. Only 9 drivers on the lead lap, Wesley. And the pace that our leaders are putting down, I wouldn't be surprised if we're left with only 5 drivers on the lead lap. So right now it's Dan West Jr., Stephen O'Hare going to be your front 2. Coming up to more lap traffic, that's Chris White, currently 9th on the board. Chris White, again, noted on it, Cup champion, got the championship done, and found himself in the right place at the right time to get the championship for the Cup Series Monday night, and now going to be moving out of the way. 83 machine, expected high hopes for Chris White. He has finished in the top 3, both in the ARCA Series and as well finished second Monday night, gaining that championship victory. So for Chris White, seen a lot of good fortune here at Las Vegas, and is just going to let our front 2 pull away and continue moving forward as Dan West Jr., Stephen O'Hare. Got to be careful, Wesley. We're starting to get closer and closer to the same time that we saw Blake Peterson and Sean Breitzman racing hard against one another. Do you think that we might see a similar situation now? Because it looks like the 55 and the 41, they're doing eerily similar things that we saw Monday.
Well, here's the thing. You have Dan West Jr. and Stephen O'Hare. He is not in this championship battle. He just wants to win the race. What happened on Monday night was Blake Peterson and Sean Breitzman, drivers fighting for the championship, fighting for the win, obviously, as well. And then out of nowhere came Chris White. And mind you, Chris White, the first truck 1 lap down now in 9th. There's White. There's the champion, the number 83. He won the Cup championship on Monday night. Samuel, that was, we said that, such heartbreak. Maybe the rough racing between Peterson and Breitzman was too early, but I don't think those guys were really looking at what the clock or the time laps remaining meant. They were just trying to race each other as hard as they could. The cars got tightened up, and then all of a sudden mistakes was made.
Yeah, and, I kind of noted on it at the end of the broadcast. You had Blake Peterson that was knowing that if he wanted a shot to win the championship, he had to make the pass on Sean Breitzman. Breitzman, though, he was just playing a little passive. Truck tightened up. Blake Peterson got loose, and it just was the worst moment for it to happen. But both drivers, you had one driver get tight and push up on the inside, one driver get loose, come down, collision out of turn 4, and just in a blink of an eye, saw their championship hopes over in an instant. And what's even crazier, Wesley, is we think back to Monday night for both that of Blake Peterson and Sean Breitzman. They both had used up their faster pairs in the first 20 laps of that race. So they had no safety net and still were racing that aggressive. For the drivers up front, though, for that of Dan West Jr. and Stephen O'Hare, both of them believe still do have their faster pairs. So they can get a little bit frisky, make some bumps here and there, but they still are eyeing when to make their final pit stop of the night.
And remember, the winner of this championship for the Northwest Truck Series will join Chris White for Cup, Brian Bloom for Northwest ARCA next Wednesday for Finish Line. Finish Line Motorsports Show. In addition to that, the smooth operator Bobby Pierce, $100,000 winner, will be on. We'll also talk about the Thanksgiving Classic Motor Racing Network's Alex Hayden is tentatively scheduled, and Michael Diaz as well, and so much more. Who will be on? That is Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 Central. And if Samuel does get up, it's 8 a.m.
Oh boy, for a quick second there, I was nervous for that of Devin West. Thought for a moment he was going to be caught speeding. He was all lingering just for a little bit longer than I thought. Was in pit road for 15 seconds. If he had gotten any longer than that, would have shown that he got a penalty, but that is the money stop for this 5 machine. Now all the eyes are on Dan West Jr., our leader. When will we see the 55, the 41 coming to pit road? And will there be calamity coming to pit road? Hopefully there's going to be some communication as they're coming up to more lap traffic. That of Dean Moore dropping low and staying actually where he's at. I think there might have been a little bit of miscommunication, but luckily getting out of the way is the 33. As for today's race, it has now come down to father and son of West Racing family. West Racing at the start of the season merged with the LSRTV racing team of Jeff Stabnow and Sean Breitzman and that of John Ottenbacher, making a 5-truck team, and they have been so on top of it in this truck series, especially through the round of 8. And now we're seeing, everything come together and culminate to this of Dan West Jr. and Devin West, both racing to see who can get the championship done between themselves. As Sean Breitzman stuck a lap down, that of Dennis Moore stuck multiple laps down, and now we wait. When will the 55 come to pit road, and will he be caught with any pitting penalty? It's been what's hurting him from winning championships. Chris White now hitting pit road, Wesley.
Yeah, Chris White's on the pit lane of the 83, the Cup champion. Obviously, he's just riding and driving. It's been a good week for him. He won the championship Monday night. As you see him making that final pit stop. The money stops are underway. 6 trucks on the lead lap, including West, O'Hare, Stabnow, Bloom, King, Lowther. Top 6. As there you see him roaring back into the corner. And there's Daddy Dan leading the way. DWJ, Dan West Jr. Samuel looking to lock up what Sean couldn't do on Monday night. Back-to-back championships for the truck series if he can hold on. But we do know, Samuel, they got to pit. He's got to pit.
Yeah, and the pit window we're looking at is going to be around lap 151 for the 55 team, as well as that of the 41 of Stephen O'Hare. Going to be aiming around that window for themselves. For that of Jeff Stabnow, Ryan Bloom, who run 3rd and 4th, both those drivers are going to be coming up about 5 laps shy from coming to the end of this race. So they're going to be pitting around lap 160 to 162 is going to be their window. But we might be seeing some of these drivers that are on the lead lap might tempt possibly, pitting a little bit sooner. But there is that risk of pitting sooner. You could be trapped a lap down, and if a yellow comes out, whoever's on the lead lap, they could be forcing a lot of other drivers to have to take a wave around instead of using their final set of tires that they still have in pit road.
Closing in on 30 laps to go. And a few more laps. There is Jeff Stabnow. Samuel, does Jeff have to pit again, or do you think he can go to the distance and try to pull a rabbit out of a hat and get a win here upset in the 24?
Just noted on it, Jeff Stabnow and Ryan Bloom, both running 3rd and 4th, both are going to have to pit around lap 160. They're going to be to 160 to 162. They're going to be about 5 laps shy from making it, and they have not shown any signs of saving enough fuel to make it to the end of this race. They're just running it until they run empty.
Cue up that song, Running on Empty. Here we come. Out of turn 4, Stabnow. He's in that 3rd position. Looking behind him, Ryan Bloom, Lowther. I will say this, buddy, as we approach the final 30 laps of the season here. I love the fact that we've seen drivers like O'Hare, Bloom, Lowther, Cooper, King, Harris, guys that used to struggle, tear their trucks up, be involved in accidents, be out in the early going. They literally are putting themselves in great contention.
Whoa.
To have an
Gamble holds on
opportunity to do well. Wow, Gamble, holy cow. Was Robert looking to
for-
pit and you think he overshot it? Then he had to back off?
Oh, he got loose. He just got extremely loose, held on. He did not. That was, if he was planning on going to pit road, he extremely overshot it. But I think he just got loose out of 4. And on these fresher tires that Robert Gamble just put on, that is how loose you can get coming out of turn 4. We got to saw that in the first couple of laps. On the restart that we had after lap 18, caution as well as on lap 1, drivers getting extremely loose on new tires coming out of turn number 4 and out of 2. So amazing save by that of Robert Gamble in the 54 truck.
Dan West Jr. out in front. Stephen O'Hare. Jeff Stabnow. Ryan Bloom. Dan Lowther. Devin West. Aaron Cooper. Sean Breitzman. Right there. And it looks like Dan West Jr. Right there, closing in on O'Hare.
Issues on the front stretch. Chris White.
Uh-oh. No caution.
83. No caution going to be thrown for himself, but once again, another driver, fresh tires, and then getting loose out of 4. Heavy right side damage on the 83. He might have to come back into pit road or Cup champion. Hey, he won the race that mattered the most for him. Here tonight, though, for the 83, a struggle as come around out of turn number 4. It should get a better shot of what that right side looks like coming into pit road. Chris White, I mean, it is scraped up and brutalized is that 83.
Yeah, it looks like he's pancaked the entire side of that car for sure. Man, it is all tore up from the floor up. Tom Denchel Automotive Group, thank you. Built Ford, tough, number 83, onto the pit lane. Fast repair, good as new. Hello, baby, I'm back.
And that's a big thing, is that Chris White does still have that fast repair. And he's got to keep himself still in the race, but kind of like getting a penalty on the pit road. Had to come right back in and going to get a lot of service done. Also, for Chris White, caught speeding on entry. So the 83 going to be having a penalty as well, still in pit road. As Stephen O'Hare makes the pass for the lead, and Tyler King putting the pressure on the 55 as King's trying to get at least 1 lap back of the 2 that he has currently.
Chris White has messaged me directly, and he says on the in-car communication, Wesley, the 54 of Robert Gamble, got into me. That's what happened. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, both drivers, especially for Gamble, that rear end was extremely loose, and I'm not surprised that it continued on and got him involved with another machine.
O'Hare out in front in his Ford coming off of turn number 4. His teammate in front of him, the Pills Oranges, Mandarin Oranges, number 21, Tyler King. Right there. Samuel, will the lap truck of King move out of the way, help O'Hare, or do you think he'll try
he's
to
gone.
do
He's on fresher tires. He is not going to be a factor anymore.
Yeah, okay. That's hashtag fake news.
As we continue to see these leaders, Wesley, battling it out, looking at, the last time these drivers came to pit road back on lap 109, they can stretch it out to about lap 151, maybe even to lap 153 if they're able. So we're about 5 laps away from seeing our front 2 be forced into pit road.
Coming up on 20 laps to go this time by. And here they come on the pit lane. Money stop for O'Hare and West. Hit your marks, make no mistakes, for the win, for the championship. And here they come, Samuel, with 20 laps to go.
Now the question is, has Devin West built up a big enough lead to try to hold off his father and that of Stephen O'Hare? That is going to be the biggest question here. And will the 55 be completely clean? Pit entry looked very conservative for that of Dan West Jr. Didn't want to get caught speeding on pit road on entry, but he cannot get caught speeding off exit. And also, we've already seen the 55 have issues with the merge lane. He's out. He's moving on. Don't get any penalties, and Dan West Jr. could be becoming a back-to-back truck champion.
Dan West Jr., he'll come back out in 4th. Devin West, his son, will now move to 2nd. Samuel, how about the ARCA champion, Ryan Bloom? He's up in the front now, but I believe they're going to have to pit before the finish.
Yeah, Ryan Bloom is going to have to pit. He's going to be about 10 laps to go to 5 laps to go. That's when we're going to be seeing the 25 coming to pit road. But for Devin West, currently having about 4.5 seconds over that of his father, Dan West Jr. So Devin's got still a lot of work to do with 19 laps to go if he could try to hold off his dad. But it is going to be a tall order with that 55 having so much fresher tires than the 5. Most likely, we're going to see Dan West Jr. catch up to the 5 here in just about 5 to 10 laps.
The interval is a 15.797 to a 19.764. And it is shrinking as I say that. He's cut it down to 18 seconds now. As here comes West. So basically, if you look at the leader, Bloom, he's pitting now. Ryan Bloom is on the pit lane. So Samuel, can Devin West go to the finish? We're thinking Devin can go to the finish. The question is Daddy going to be able to run him down with the tires, and even O'Hare for that matter, as now the scoring pylon updates them 2nd and 3rd.
I think Dan West recognized there's no save. It is all go. Dan West Jr. just put down the fastest lap of the night, a 30.28 second lap time. This 55 wants this championship bad.
I told you, Samuel, and here he comes. He's cut the interval to almost 2 seconds between the leader, West, and his son, West Sr., Dan West Jr., Devin West. Right now, O'Hare is the monkey in the middle. He's looking for a win. Breitzman, Samuel, right back up in that battle as well. He's just a couple of seconds behind Dan West Jr. There he is, right there in the 46. He could possibly get up in there and try to make something happen.
The issue with Breitzman, he is in a similar spot of Jeff Stabnow where he cannot make it. Well, Jeff Stabnow actually just made his pit stop. So for this 46 team, he can only stay out there until about 5 laps to go. Then he'll have to come to pit road. So if Sean Breitzman wants a shot for this championship, he needs a caution from these next 10 laps.
Sean Breitzman in 4th. Here comes Stab now, trying to clear around his teammate. A good strong run this weekend to close out the year for the Billings, Montana native in the 24. To work his way off of the corner.
Battle for the lead.
Battle for the lead. Here they come. Back straightaway. Dan West Jr., Stephen O'Hare, Devin West, Samuel, they're all right there fighting for it. The chess pieces on the table are ready to go. Who's going to call checkmate and lay out their cards on the line here in virtual Vegas? 14, 13 laps to go as they set them back into 1.
Well, this is all that Dan West Jr. needs to do. Just be in front of the 5. He's got much fresher tires. If anything, he can just let Stephen O'Hare ride away into the sunset and win this race. But, Wesley, we know Dan West Jr., he wants to get the championship and the win here tonight. The 55 has been quick, knows how to get wins here at the mile-and-a-half courses. And we look back, at Las Vegas. Back in the spring, it was Caden Anderson that won this race, but the 55 Dan West Jr. put a great fight and has shown speed at Las Vegas before. Even winning back in the spring in the Cup cars was Dan West Jr. So Las Vegas has shown a lot of luck for the 55. We'll see if he can carry over, get a championship, and as well get a victory here. But it's going to be a hard-fought battle. Stephen O'Hare, it's going to be very quick, and they've got lap traffic ahead.
11 laps to go. And lap traffic in the way. Dan West Jr. getting around his son, getting around O'Hare. O'Hare wants to win this race as well. Passing teammate for West of John Onenbacher as they work into turn number 3. Through the 4th turn, up the high banks, 51 up top side of Daggett. Whoa, sideways Daggett. Below the apron, Samuel, 10 laps to go at Vegas and for the season for a race for the championship in turn 1 and 2.
Yeah, right there. Daggett was trying to inform for the leaders to stay low. He'll just stay high, but you saw there the 51 got extremely loose, and luckily no one else was involved. But man, up front, if Dan West Jr. is going to be seeing this race get thrown away, it's most likely going to be contact between himself and lap traffic, or the 55 having contact with the 41. Based on where they're running, Devin West, not even a factor, over 3.5 seconds back and growing is the 5 as he is now back to 3rd place. Still a fabulous run for himself. But Wesley, this whole entire race, the big move of the race was all the way back in our first caution when the drivers that decided to come into pit road go off sequence, take a set of tires. That's what gave them the option to be able to have the freshest tires at the end of the race on these long green flag runs.
It is go time now. We watch these drivers working their way back around. Who is going to win the championship? Who's going to win the race? And can we see Mr. Dan West Jr. go back-to-back and win the final race of the season for Season 8 of the trucks here tonight at the virtual Las Vegas Motor Speedway on the iRacing Simulator. He will be looking for his 6th win of the year if he can pull it off. Stephen O'Hare, though, Samuel, he's right there up on him as they work their way down the Nellis straightaway to the backside of the 3. It is West Jr. tailgate full of Stephen O'Hare down the bottom of the racetrack as now Robert Gamble, the lap truck, gets out of the way out of turn 4 through the dog leg.
Yeah, Gamble's going to be staying high and going to be trying to stay out of the way of our leaders as they continue to fight on. I think the big thing for Dan West Jr. is when there is lap traffic on the high line, it's not giving Stephen O'Hare an opportunity to try to make a pass. But, you know, for Stephen O'Hare, yes, he would love to get another win and put that on his belt for this season and just count this season as, you know, we found some speed. We'll carry this momentum into the next season. But at the same time, you got to be wondering, how aggressive does this 41 want to be, recognizing the fact that he is racing with a driver that sees the championship practically in his hands with 5 laps to go. It is all down to Dan West Jr. and Devin West. With Dan West Jr. having the fresher tires, runs high. This is the opportunity for the 41, Wesley.
A slip. Here comes West up the outside. Here comes Stephen O'Hare down to the bottom. The 41 with 5, now make it 4 laps to go. Coming off turn 4, he's looking for his 2nd win of the season. Here comes the slider and the crossover. Up on the outside, slide job if you will. Comes the 41. Battles back on the outside at a 2. Dan West Jr. will hang with him. 4 laps to go. DWJ back to the lead. Stephen O'Hare battling on the bottom. Deja vu between Peterson and Breitzman, except it's down the home stretch here at Vegas for the Truck Championship, Samuel. 3 to go at the line.
This is what we were wanting to see on Monday night at this time. It's crunch time. 3 laps to go for Dan West Jr. and Stephen O'Hare. Big thing, though, Wesley, if a caution comes out before we get the white flag, Dan West Jr., Stephen O'Hare, they are on the last set of their tires. They have no more sets in pit road.
Oh, wow. So we'll keep an eye on that as they work their way to the line. 2 to go. Nose to tail, side by side. And here comes Hare on the inside. O'Hare outside West. 2 laps to go. They are still side by side for the race, for the championship. Back into turn number 2.
That last time by across the line, it was 12 thousandths of a second where Dan West Jr. had the nose. Going into turn number 3, he's got a half a truck length, but here comes the 41 of O'Hare. Out of turn 2, Wesley, come to the white flag.
For the final time this year, they'll cross the stripe in the CRN 1 to go. Basketball, iRacing, IHRA drag racing, and more this weekend at WeAreCRN.com. And for the final time, O'Hare, Dan West Jr. still neck and neck down the back straightaway for a win for a championship. Samuel to the 3.
It might take a door bang from that of Stephen O'Hare if he's going to be wanting to get the victory here. A great center of the corner, but can he get the launch out?
Oh no, contact, but they all respect one another. They lean on one another. O'Hare is going to win this race. 2 thousandths of a second over Dan West Jr., but Dan West Jr., being the bridesmaid, Samuel, will pick up the back-to-back Northwest Truck Series Championship. That's the way it should be right there. What a battle. O'Hare wins the battle,
that they were good.
And West wins the war.
They knew that they were good to make the bumps on top of one another coming out of the corner. If they made that contact any sooner, it could have been throwing away Dan West Jr.'s shot to win the championship. They got to the straightaway, bumped off of one another, and it was just enough. 0.02 of a second. That's all that Stephen O'Hare needed to get the win. But Dan West Jr., like you said, he wins the war and gets the championship here tonight.
Hey, Samuel, you know I'm a stat guy, right? What happened on Monday night? Obviously, BJ Tindrick won the race. The champion, Chris White, finished in second. O'Hare wins this race. Dan West Jr., champion, finishes in second. And Dad gets the punt from Son. And for the final time this year, an extensive Northwest high five salute. They're going to burn it down and tear them up. And there is the winner and champion right there.
We thought it was maybe going to have to take a win to get the championship done, but it was just enough. An off-ball strategy call. Wesley, it was that pit stop under our one and only caution of the night that gave Dan West Jr. the strategy to win the championship late in this race.
Burning it down, having fun, and it is over. Look at Ryan Bloom. Ryan Bloom, ARCA champion. Chris White, Cup champion. And for Season 8 of the Trucks, 2 years in a row, the number 55. Team LSRTV entry out of Shelton, Washington. It is Dan West Jr. Champion. Stephen O'Hare picks up his second win of the season as well to close out things here at Vegas. All right, for the final time, your unofficial results. It's presented by LiveSimRacingTV.com. Stephen O'Hare, Samuel, 0.021 at the line over Dan West Jr. Devin West falls back 9 seconds at the flag for third. Jeff Stabnow, good solid top 5 for both on Monday and tonight. Ryan Bloom, 6th, 5th. 6th is going to go to Tyler King. Last truck on the lead lap. Dan Lowther, Sean Breitzman, Aaron Cooper, Kevin Smith. Hold your head high, Sky. Top 10 finish for all those drivers. Just 1 lap down, but they put on a good performance here tonight, Samuel.
That they certainly did. 11th going to be that of Gary Nichols, as well as that of Troy Daggett in 12th. But 13th, Dennis Moore, 2 laps down for the 44 team that saw his championship hopes be snuffed out in only his first green flag pit stop of the night of his 3 green flag pit stops. Penalized with a mistake exiting pit road. The 44 going to be 2 laps down in 13th. With the 11 of Frank Harris going to be in 14th. Dean Moore going to be getting 15th with his penalty that he got as well on his last pit stop. John Ottenbacher, Russ Lundberg, as well as Robert Gamble, Chris White, our Cup champion, and Eric Chaney finishing out your top 20. 21st going to be that of Carl Burke, Scott Hutchinson, and Will Duvall finishing out your 23 drivers that raced here tonight.
Yeah, you know, Samuel, Will Duvall is definitely a talented guy on the dirt. He just needs some more seat time on pavement. But I believe if he can get more opportunities, I think he could be somebody to watch. I know one of his goals next year in the 2022 season is to try to win a race for sure. Hey, listen, so we grabbed a word with all 4 of these drivers about obviously, Samuel, you did. If you win the championship, what does it mean to represent the Northwest? We're going to play that for you now. And in addition to
that is not the question, so you're not confused.
What
The
is
question was, how
Go
confident were
question. Go
you
ahead.
to win the championship?
There you go. How confident were you to win the championship? Well, this is what they said. And, of course, Dan West Jr. is the man that wins it. Finish line, post-race wrap-up, championship celebration when we return from Vegas. Welcome back to coverage. Northwest iRacing Truck Series and the wrap-up of Season 8 Finish Line Post-Race Report. Samuel Dyer, Wesley Outland here with you. By the way, they decided not to play those video slides because they felt like it was already during pre-production, so we should have played it earlier. But anyhow, we do have the top three. We're going to grab a word with Dan West Jr., back-to-back champion for the trucks. We'll grab the other guys on the podium and so much more as we continue the Finish Line Post-Race Wrap-Up. Stephen O'Hare getting his second win of the season. All of that coming up here in just a bit. But first, we'll talk to the third place man and the driver runner-up for the championship. That is Devin West. Devin, man, you tried so hard. Strategy, things run out, luck run out. Your take of the season, and of course, it's got to not be that bad being second to your dad.
Yeah, season was great. Obviously, we entitled that for second most wins in the league of the season. And I mean, obviously, anytime you make the Final Four, Final Four guys out of how many guys started in this league and try to make this championship race, that's not too bad either. Then obviously to see Dad win, obviously makes me very happy. To finish second to him, another guy that finished second too, obviously, and now I both get 1-2, and I think Sean got third, so it makes LSRTV top 3. So, it's a pretty good season. I really can't complain at all. Obviously, I'm a little disappointed, and I came here to win, and for 98% of the race, I thought I had a pretty good chance. So, I come just short, but yeah, I can't complain.
Yeah, Devin, a lot of, this race seemed to be coming down to that pit stop on our one and only caution of the day. What was going through your mind during that caution of were you thinking about for sure coming into pit road, or was that a late decision not to come in?
That was a late decision. I saw Dennis stayed out, and he was the leader, and I knew Dennis had a fast truck, arguably maybe the fastest of the four, and I didn't want to let him, get out on his own strategy and have no pressure. So I stayed out, and I regretted it for those caution laps. But as I worked out the math in my head, as the race went on, we had those 140 whatever green flag laps going. I thought it was going to work out. I thought I had the right stop strategy. I thought I was going to be on the lead when the caution or when the checker flag threw. Obviously, when those guys passed me, Dad and Stefan caught me by surprise more than anybody else. So, I don't regret it. Obviously, I had to do something a little different. I thought I had the truck, and I did everything I could.
Devin, your plans for next year in 2022, bud? What we're gonna see? Want to see you still run with us, or obviously I know you had the work schedule keep you away from a lot of cup events, or you gonna try to maybe commit to run some more events next year?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love this series. I love everybody in it. Obviously, get to race with my dad, and something that I haven't really got to do too much in real life. So that's one of the best things about this. And obviously Jeff, Sean, John, everyone on my team, LSRTV, they're great guys, and I honestly get on just hang out with them. So, then obviously, the guys in this league are great. You have Beaver State, those guys are awesome to race with. They're fast and they're clean, and it really, makes me look forward to the race night. So, and obviously, or not obviously, but plus, I don't do that job anymore. I'm actually going to school now, so that frees up the schedule a little bit. So,
there you go.
Yeah, so summer's off. I'm able to race quite a bit. Truck is definitely going to be rolling next year, and hopefully the Cup too.
All right, man. Well, there is the young man of Devin West, Shelton Washington, second for the championship points. He'll finish third here tonight at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Second place is going to be Dan West Jr. Dan, we'll talk to you about the race, and then we'll come back with you, obviously being the back-to-back champion in a bit. But, man, that was a pretty wild battle. What happened between you and O'Hare for the win was what we were really hoping we would have seen down the stretch between Peterson and Breitzman on Monday night. You guys bump and bang. What a great show you put on. And you settled for second place, but the champion, we'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah, what an awesome race. I hope it was, like Stefan was saying, I hope it was fun for you guys to watch coming across the line there. I didn't mean to really get into him, just trying to side draft, hoping to get a little bit of run on him there. But I think both our trucks are pretty darn equal, to be honest with you. I mean, if it was pretty tough to pass each other. The only thing I felt like I was a little bit better on the short run with fresh tires than Stefan was. But once we got rolling, I think his truck might have been just a hair faster. So unfortunately, I caught the apron coming out of two there, and it slowed me down just a little bit, let him in there. But at the end of the day, it made for a good show.
Yeah, I mean, Dan, an incredible run. How much of the Monday night notes of seeing, Lake and Sean duke it out with 40 to 30 laps to go coming to mind when you were battling with that of O'Hare in those final 10 laps?
Oh, a lot of that was coming to mind. I mean, the Cup race was not my best race. Obviously, that pit stop really screwed me up. So I was not making very fast pit stops tonight. I was just trying to stay underneath that pit road speed. So, and then with Stefan and I have a lot of faith in Stefan. He's a great driver and he's clean, but I just was not going to get down there. And normally I would, probably, close, get on his door a little bit more in the corners. But I trying to be smart. But then, trying to race too and have some fun.
I'll tell you what, Dan, we'll talk back with you here in just a little bit, but so just hang tight. Obviously, okay. The ceremonies are coming for the champion. Again, that's Dan West Jr. He'll finish in the number 2 position. And we'll go to victory lane now. Winner here tonight for the finale at Vegas, driver number 41 Machine. He wins his second win this season. Stefan O'Hare, you had to fight for it. You were there at the end. You put it in victory lane. Obviously, as I said in closing, you win the battle. Dan West Jr. wins the war. Congratulations to you. I know you wanted that checkered flag to cap off the season, bud.
Yeah, first of all, congratulations to Dan. Really came on strong there, and glad to see him win the championship. And second, thank you to Sean and Jeff and the drivers committee for putting on the series and league. This is a ton of fun. It's really, really exciting to cap off the season with a W. But just really, really thankful, had a ton of fun, and again, congrats to Dan.
Yeah, I mean, Stefan, what a run for yourself. And it seems like whenever there's either fuel or just a pitch strategy type of a night, you as a whole at Beaver State Racing comes up, but you as well just showing up here tonight. What a run for yourself. What was going through your mind, though, in those final pit stops that were coming up of if you made any mistakes?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, Dennis, I think got caught with a pit speeding penalty early on and kind of ruined his night and chance at the championship. I think as he's done all season long, put together really great set, really fast trucks for all of Beaver State Racing. I was really hoping to short pit Dan there because we were pretty darn equal on the long run. He fired off on the short runs, and I questioned my ability to get by him because we were so equal. So I thought if I could short pit him, I might come out in front and be able to hold him off a bit better. But he's a veteran and followed me down pit road. And he was so much quicker on the short runs. I wasn't going to hold him up. I know, he's racing for the championship, but I also, we're out there competing. I wasn't going to make it easy. Looked like he clipped the apron a bit there and opened the door for me. So I dove in there and we raced side by side, kind of deja vu, I think, back there to Pocono. So luckily came out on front.
Obviously, Stephen O'Hare being the winner of this race, man, this has got to be a great confidence booster going in to 2022, man. Your plans for next season, obviously looking for a Cup and Truck Championship yourself.
Yeah, really excited for just Beaver State Racing to cap off the season with a win. Championship didn't go our way this season, but we've been putting together some pretty fast trucks. So I'm really looking forward to next season. It should be a ton of fun. There's the competitiveness and skill set of all these guys that are racing is incredible. So it's really fun just to be able to compete and to come out on top and get some W's throughout the season and hopefully next year compete for the championship with a few of us still alive in the last race will be the goal for the season.
All right, buddy. Well, congratulations to you. Stephen O'Hare, ladies and gentlemen, he picks up the win. It will be his second win of the season as he closes out the year here in 2021 here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway in a great race, mind you, obviously, for the driver of, let's see here, at the end, he's ninth in the points, 2 wins now, 9 top 5, 16 top 10s for the driver of the number 41. To victory lane and Stephen O'Hare to now the crowning of the champion. Out of 24 races, he dropped the green out of 27 starts, 5 wins, 5 poles, 16 top 5s, and 21 top 10s. He will be the champion last year and this year. The driver, the number 51, West Racing LSRTV Ford. Welcome back to the championship home again. Dan West Jr., congratulations to you, buddy.
Thanks, guys. There's a lot of people you got to thank on this deal, and the biggest guy is probably Jeff Stabnow for supporting me on this deal and always giving me a really good truck. Teammates for putting the time in to help build these sets. Devin, Sean, John, and Jeff. Appreciate them a ton. So thank you very much.
Yeah, Dan, back-to-back truck champion. Congratulations on that. But Dan, you went through a very tough round of 8 with a lot of pit road mistakes that came up. It seemed like any mistake that could have happened has happened to you, even going into Monday night. Was any of that kind of getting into your head coming into tonight's race?
Yeah, I mean, it was, but at the end of the day, I just went into this race knowing to have fun. I mean, I had a good truck and just knew I could do it. I knew I could make these pit stops, but yeah, for some reason I had a rash of just bad stops that were just taking me out of races that I should have been, top 3 car or truck. So, yeah, I mean, it definitely weighs on you. So, and unfortunately, it slowed my pit stops down tonight just because I didn't want to take that chance. So, but fortunately, it worked out.
2 years in a row, champion. Dan West, what does that mean to you, bud?
With these group of drivers, I mean, it's a ton. It's pretty rewarding. I mean, at the end of the day, though, I mean, it's bittersweet. I'd love to have seen Devin win it too. So, I really thought he had a good chance. He had a really good truck when we were testing, and especially a long run truck. And he puts a lot of effort into this deal, and I would have been happy to see him win it too. So, but feel fortunate. Like I say, there's luck that that you have to have in this stuff. And obviously you got Dennis Moore with Beaver State Racing this bad fast, and you know he had some bad luck tonight, and that really sucks. And Sean Breitzman was fast, and same thing, speeding penalty. So you know, your night just has to go your way, right?
The mindset of winning this championship is obviously different than trying to win the race. When you were side by side with Stephen O'Hare, was there a moment where you maybe backed off and said, man, I don't want to risk tearing the truck up trying to fight for a win because I know I'm running for a championship? Or is that driver mentality in you to try to win the race like you finished second tonight?
Well, fortunately, I had a driver like Stefan underneath me, so I wasn't concerned about him or his abilities at all. I knew he would hold his line. So, yeah, I gave a little bit of room between us, entering the corner and through the corner. I just kind of, you know, obviously you got to win the war, right? So, but at the end of the day, I'm still a racer, and I want to win, and so it was kind of it's a balance. I mean, it's a thin line. You're trying to obviously be pretty stupid of me to throw it away just to try to win the race when I'm sitting there with a championship in my hand, right? So, but like I say, I had a great driver underneath me. I wasn't concerned about him, so I was able to just kind of run that top groove and was able to kind of make some time up a little bit up there. So, but yeah, it was a good race.
Samuel, do you have a final question for our champion, Dan West Jr., since this is a little extended and he is the champion for the end of the season?
I don't have any more real questions for you, Dan, but just congratulations on what a season for yourself, staying consistent, out of trouble, and what a race you had here tonight.
Thank you, Samuel. Samuel, you and Wesley are awesome up there. I really enjoy going back and watching the broadcast. Cody behind the scenes, we don't hear him much, but he does a hell of a job on the broadcasting. I appreciate all you guys. I got to throw some sponsors in there that have helped us out this year. Interstate Synthetics, Nicole Bryan Photography, Northwest Sugar, Outdoor Cast Iron, Tom Dentro Auto Group, and LSRTV. I appreciate all you guys.
Back to back. He won it in 2020. He wins it again in 2021. The driver of the LSRTV West Racing Ford out of Shelton, Washington, Dan West Jr., champion again of Season 7 and now Season 8 of the Northwest Truck Series here, of course, here at Vegas. We are going to take a quick commercial break. One more final time, we will thank Tom Dentro Auto Group, and we will wrap things up, Samuel and I, for the race for the season next.
An automobile purchase shouldn't be hard. The hardest part for the consumer in the whole process should be selecting the vehicle. We have the online credit application. We can bring the car to you to see it, to test drive it, to deliver it. We have all the tools in place, and we've had them in place for a long time. I just think now we've perfected it. It's become part of our culture. We've, kind of taken it to the next level. It is easy, and it should be easy, and it should be fun, and it shouldn't take a whole lot of time.
We welcome you back here to coverage of the Northwest Series from the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Samuel Dyer, Wesley Outland here with you. Samuel, it's over just like that. I will say this, very surprised in the outcome of this race. I thought there was going to be bumping, banging, calamity. It just wasn't that tonight. It just wasn't that. Matter of fact, we saw some type of excitement between O'Hare and Dan West Jr. on those final laps. I don't want to call it a snooze fest. It was just a very respectable race for everybody racing tonight.
Well, we didn't note on it, but I think we're missing some guys that usually stir up the pot a little bit. We were missing Kate Anderson and Cole Raz. Those are usually the aggressive drivers that kind of, give a little bit of tension to everyone around. But without those guys, everyone was thinking championship racing. It's all about making the least amount of mistakes. We saw a lot of mistakes made here tonight, Wesley, and Dan West Jr., even with his lap one going through the grass, able to come out front and finishing second and get a championship.
And by the way the final four of the points will be, it will be Dan West Jr., Devin West, his son, Sean Breitzman, and Dennis Moore, the final four, the way they run out for the championship. And again, Samuel, we talked about these things. You cannot make mistakes, especially in the playoffs, especially in the championship race like tonight. Dennis Moore, I mean, my goodness, did I jinx him by picking him? He looked really, really strong. These mistakes, I believe, that we've seen made on the pit lane were the outcome of why we didn't see these different drivers in victory lane. And that's the old saying, Samuel, you got to do good not only on the racetrack, but when you come down to the pit lane as well. Can't make mistakes in entrance or exit. And, of course, got to make sure you don't get busted for speeding and have a good flawless pit stop. And know where your pit box is, too.
Yeah. Knowing that, also knowing the speed limit, and also knowing where the merge line, that is really the key points for sure for most of these drivers. But Wesley, we saw it throughout the whole entire championship week. We saw it in ARCA, Cup, and here tonight in the Truck Series. Hey, the whole entire season's come to an end, but it was the driver that kept themselves out of trouble, was consistent, that got the championship. As we saw, it was always just one driver that seemed to keep himself out of trouble. Everyone else made a mistake, caught up in another wreck. It was just something where you had to make sure that you were on your game and had almost the perfect race to win the championship.
Now, remember, live sim racing has more iRacing broadcasts throughout the winter months, specials, but obviously the Northwest Cup Truck Series and ARCA will come back in February of 2022. And as much as I've also enjoyed working with our buddy Samuel Dyer here, I would be remiss to say thank you also to Greg Rentz. Enjoyed working with him now for another season, and I look forward to coming back for season 3. Samuel, thank you for all you've done. Definitely, we've enjoyed it. Looking forward to next year as well, bud.
Yeah, next year, excited to see how it's going to happen. February, March, we don't know the official date, but we will announce it when we do get that date. But man, what a season it's been, Wesley. Thanks for even letting me be in the booth, being your main co for most of the second half of the season. But it's been a pleasure to grow as, figuring out our chemistry of commentators throughout the season and finishing out on a strong note.
Certainly has. And by the way, if you want to go check out the iRacing Top 10 plays of the month of October, I believe our buddy Samuel Dyer made it in the countdown. One more time, we look at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It has been a fun time. The virtual look of the World Course Las Vegas Motor Speedway in the desert, a big race. When it's all said and done, it was quiet, pretty exciting race at the end. Dan West Jr. wins the championship. Stephen O'Hare, of course, winning the race. And remember, Dan West Jr., Ryan Bloom, and Chris White will be joining us on Finish Line for a Thanksgiving Eve edition on this upcoming Wednesday week on, of course, live sim racing and all the other cool things. Fox Sports Radio, iHeartRadio, Community Radio Network. Hey, thank you again to Jeff Stabnow, Charles Wooten, everybody at Rocket Media, for everybody here. Have a great Thanksgiving. Have a great Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. Be good to one another. Keep on praying for America. God knows we need it. And here's for a bigger and better, brighter 2022. And we will see you again down the road.